makes Smaug the dragon extremely cruel. Dragons are naturally greedy creatures and are more than willing to cause destruction and desolation in order to get what they desire. Smaug, being no different, destroys the entire kingdom of Dale to steal the dwarves' treasure under the Lonely Mountain. Not only is Smaug greedy for wealth, but he is greedy for power. When Smaug's power is threatened by Thorin and company, he sets out to destroy Lake Town. Smaug's rage made him careless, and in his recklessness he was shot down and killed with an arrow during his attack on the town. Smaug is ultimately destroyed by his own greed. His actions throughout the novel help develop the theme of the evil effects of greed in the novel.
Tell me, wretch, how now shall you challenge me? You have nothing left but your death.
Maid, look at me. You look at me. Little to your left. That's it.
Thorin Oakenshield is one of the worst victims of greed. His greedy dwarven nature blinds him in crucial moments, ultimately destroying him in the end. While Thorin does start out with good intentions for himself and the dwarf company, his motives become mixed the further they journey. The closer Thorin gets to his destination, the greedier he becomes. His greed reaches its peak after Smaug's death, when he finally regains control of the Lonely Mountain. The Arkenstone and the endless mounds of treasure drive Thorin mad with greed. Because of this greed, Thorin becomes extremely stubborn, distrustful, selfish, and defensive. He would rather go to war than give up any of his treasure. Even though greed seems to destroy Thorin, he partially redeems himself through his heroic death in the Battle of the Five Armies, and most importantly, through repenting during his final moments. By repenting before his death, Thorin acknowledges his foolishness and shows the reader that he still has somewhat of a good character. However, Thorin's enlightenment does not make up for his actions, and the evil effects of greed in his life are permanent. This contributes to the overall theme of the story. And now presenting Jasmine Villegas. Do you think the extent of Thorin's greed was beyond redemption?
No, I don't think the extent of his greed was irredeemable. His flaw, that being his greed, is a very human-like factor. We all have flaws, and we all mess up sometimes. And I do think that everyone deserves a second chance.
Introducing scholar Megan Harrison. Do you think the extent of Thorin's greed was beyond redemption?
Well, yes, I do. He fails as a true leader by becoming obsessed with gold and revenge instead of with peace and joy of his people. He chooses war with his neighbors over peace rather than giving up a small portion of his vast wealth, and that decision is his downfall.
Beyond measure, beyond sorrow and grief. Behold, the great treasure hoard of Throne.
Bilbo Baggins does not let greed destroy him. While the ultimate effect is not the same, greed still plays a large role in shaping Bilbo's character throughout the novel. At the beginning of the quest, upon hearing about the dwarves' treasure, Bilbo is tempted by a fierce and a jealous love, the desire of the hearts of dwarves. However, throughout the novel he does not give in and instead is able to resist greed's temptations. One of Bilbo's strongest acts of resistance is when he hands over the Arkenstone to Thorin's enemies and even forfeits his share of the gold in an attempt to create peace and compromise. This is because hobbits are creatures who take pleasure in living lives of simplicity. Hobbits, unlike dragons and dwarves, do not obtain happiness from gaining material possessions and wealth. It is Bilbo's simple hobbit traits such as courage, sensibility, loyalty, and kindness that allow him to not be corrupted by greed. Even though the ultimate effect of greed is different for Bilbo, he still helps develop the theme of the evil effects of greed in the novel.
I came to give you this.
The heart of the mountain. The king's jewel.
And worth a king's ransom. How is this yours to give?
I took it as my 14th share of the treasure.
Why would you do this? You owe us no loyalty.
I'm not doing it for you. I know that dwarves can be obstinate and pig-headed and difficult and suspicious and secretive, with the worst manners you can possibly imagine, but they are also brave and kind and loyal to a fault. I've grown very fond of them, and I would save them if I can. Now, Thorin values this stone above all else. In exchange for its return, I believe he will give you what you are owed. There will be no need for war.
From one extreme to the other, the evil effects of greed in The Hobbit are clearly shown through the characters Thorin, Smaug, and Bilbo. These characters help develop the theme through their actions and responses to greed throughout the novel.